Hello everyone. On today's video, we're going to go over how to ship multiple orders in Profit. We currently do not have this feature in Qty. It's fairly straightforward in Profit, and I'm going to walk you through it today. When I'm first brought into Profit, I'm brought into this screen here, which we call our Qty view, or our FRI 740-ish screen. In order to do multi-order shipping, I need to go to my shipping tab, also known as my profit view. To get there, I want to select F12 on my keyboard. Once I'm in this screen, I need to set my date to my desired dates. I can do that by either typing the date or by using F4 to pull up a calendar and selecting a date from the calendar. So again, I can either type that date or use F4 to select the date from the calendar. Once my date range is set, I can hit my In Work button. That's my In Work button here. Or I can set an F5 on my keyboard. What that's going to do is bring in all of my orders for the given date range. From here, I need to get my orders that the driver shows up requesting onto the screen touching. However, most of the time, a driver does not show up with consecutive numbers. What I mean by that is they often don't show up and say, give me 28403, 28404, and 28405. Often they show up and give us numbers all over the place. I want to show you how to use your filters in Profit to get those orders that are non-consecutive to be touching on the screen so you can highlight those orders and go to your truck builder. What we do is we hit this down arrow. So you can see I'm selecting this down arrow here in this column. I can then use Control. I can hold down Control on my keyboard and I can select multiple non-consecutive orders. I can also use my text field if I prefer to type one order number per line. Hitting Enter in between, and then selecting OK. I then acknowledge that 3 items were selected, and I select OK with a left click from my filter box. Now that my orders are touching, I can highlight those orders and use F9 on my keyboard or this truck builder button. So again, that's F9 on my keyboard, or I can use this truck builder button. That will then prompt me with a question. Do you want to create a new truck? The answer is yes. What that does is actually tells Profit to go out and put those multiple orders onto one single truck. Inside of this screen, we have something similar to our F6 screen up top. We have our fruit lines similar to F7 down at the bottom. And we have our action steps here in the middle. So what I can do now is go ahead and fill out my driver's name. And his corresponding information. I'm using Enter on my keyboard to move through these fields. Once I have my driver's information, I can either use a Shift F2 or F14 button here in the center of my screen to set a truck arrival. So again, Shift F2 or F14's button here to set a truck arrival. And I can actually see that in my menu down below. The next thing I need to do is allocate pallets onto my order. I also need to assign each order a pallet quantity. To do that, I need to go to each order individually. I can do that right here from my truck builder using my F7 on my keyboard. That actually brings me into my F7 screen. I want to allocate pallets the same way I used to in Kirky. That's Shift F10. And then I can scan my tags. I hit enter to allocate those onto the order. I put my pallet quantity here into my pallet quantity field. And I use F3 to go back to my truck builder. I want to go into my next order and do the same thing. I'm using F7 on my keyboard to go to that order. I then do a Shift F10 for F22, which brings me into my tag field where I can scan my tag. And I can use enter to apply that. I don't want to forget my pallet quantity, so I do that at this time. And then I use my F3 for save and exit to go back out to my truck. One more time, I'm going to go into this order with an F7. It's an F7 on my keyboard. I'm again going to use Shift F10 for F22 to scan my tags and enter to apply that tag. I'm going to put my pallet quantity into my pallet quantity field and use F3 to save that and go back to my truck builder. I can now see here that my order has been fully allocated. And as I step through these lines, I can see that I have a pallet quantity for each of those lines. I'm now ready to ship my truck. So I can ship my truck out with an F15. So we can go ahead and do an F15 at this time. That's Shift F3 to ship this truck. We'll get a prompt that asks me to confirm my pallet quantities on each order. I'll want to go ahead and hit OK to verify. The system will let me know it's working here in the bottom left-hand corner. And that truck is now going to be shipped. You can see my staging description changes to shipped full. And I'm brought to my subscriber list. On my subscriber list, I can either use a left click, hold and drag, and a space bar to say I don't want it to print. Or I can use Shift, hold down Shift, and use my down arrow to do the same thing. And again, spacebar toggles those on and off a no print. I can then use my F3 button that you see here down in my menu below. That's F3 to send and exit that order. That is how you ship multiple orders in Profit. If I want to view those orders and ensure that they've been shipped full, I can use my F12 on my keyboard and go to my Shipped tab using my Shipped button here in the left-hand corner of my screen. I can now see that those orders have shipped full. And if I highlight all of those orders, I can actually see the total quantity that went out on that truck. If I'm ready to move on to my next truck arrival, I want to go back to my in-work screen and make sure that I turn off my filter that you can see here with this little funnel. I can do that two ways. Select my down arrow and push no filtering, or right click and go to filters and clear column filters to bring in the remainder of my orders. So that is how you ship multiple orders on a single truck in Profit. Thank you everyone for your time and attention, and we'll see you next time.